So it's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, villains, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. Page has been turned on Newcastle, and now we're on towards Everton. I said that, the reason I paused before I said that was because I actually wanted to take a look at Paddy as I was saying it to see if he was still gritting his teeth after last week. But I think I'm okay. I think I'm in the clear with regards to that. But Everton are on the horizon for Aston Villa this weekend, this Sunday at 2 p.m. kickoff. So do not get caught for times. And I'll be honest with you, I'm really, really looking forward to it. I think back in Villa Park, first game of the season, with a point to prove, with things to put right. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Unai Emery has done over the last week. And I think that a lot of the kinks will be ironed out as we come back to play in Villa Park. But Paddy, what's your thoughts? Am I being overly Villa tinted glasses with that one?
I think you are. Look, I'm still rattled from last week. There's a lot to absorb from what's happened in that game, from shipping 5 goals, which doesn't tell the whole story when you see the horror injury that Tyrone Mings has picked up. It had a huge effect on the team, I'm sure. I've seen fellas around me crumble when things like that happen on the pitch, so it does happen. People never get their act together after that when one of their teammates go down. It actually rocks you to the core. And I actually felt physically sick myself looking at it. And it was after that I messaged you and went, look, I'm not going after this game because I actually felt like I was going to puke. That's exactly how it felt. So we've lost a leader, a man mounted and a leader, and a calming influence on the back four. So I'm not going to say we're back to square one, but there was a lot of work to be done this week. So we've another difficult task ahead, albeit against a rather toothless Everton, but a resilient Everton. I'm sure they will be. I'm still a bit smartened from the weekend. Not only with what's gone on in our game, but what's gone on in the game between Man United and Wolves has really, really rattled me this week. I think we're being lied to. I think Howard Webb came out last week. I actually listened back to it again this week. I was that bloody annoyed. They decided that Man United were not going to be 2 points behind after the first game. That's what they decided on Monday night, and nobody will tell me otherwise. It was absolutely the worst decision VAR has ever made. So here we are, 1 week into the season, and fate is completely gone in PGMOL. I honestly don't know what those guys are doing. They shared a video 3 weeks ago of these unbelievable facilities. Like, people talk about what Google and Meta have here in their offices in Ireland. And these guys have something like the Starship Enterprise to work on. And yet they still can't get it right. So someone could tell me the 3 referees. Number 1, Simon Hooper, who saw the incident. You can see it from the replay behind the goal. He was looking straight at it. And then 2 gobshites sitting with all the replays at their disposal said, no, play on. That's fine. You go over and book the Minnows manager there, because that's what they deserve, those little minnows. How dare they question our decisions? Absolute bollocks. There was questionable decisions in our match as well. I believe that stupid decision where you play on if it's marginally offside, I believe that could have led to Tyrone Mings' injury. I think Isak was possibly offside from the initial ball. They didn't show it. Surprise, surprise. They showed fuck all that we wanted them to show. Did they draw lines? No. Oh, look, here's the new rules. They're not going to draw lines this season. Surprise, surprise.
Until Monday night.
Spurs play 2 o'clock on Sunday. They start drawing lines. Chelsea and Liverpool 4 o'clock Sunday. Start drawing lines. Now, I've decided for the first 5 minutes of this to get all that off my chest, because I know it's what people want to hear. But there you go.
You can tell why we didn't have him on the post-match directly afterwards. This is
yeah.
5 days later.
5 days later, I'm still really annoyed to the extent that my season ticket is bought and paid for, but I have zero, and I mean zero faith that I can go to Villa Park and get a fair deal off these celebrities with whistles in their mouth. I just do not believe that PGMOL is fit for purpose. I think it should be disbanded. I think they need to start again. I think they need to sack each and every one of them referees because they're all just towing the line of what PGL have been spouting now for the last whatever amount of years they're being formed. 30 years the Premier League is on the go. We all remember Fergie time. That was the start of it. That was the start of it. Fergie standing there pointing at his watch on the 89th minute and an extra 2 minutes go onto the clock. Simple as that. That was the start of it. They're still at it. The big boys are still at it. They're still flaunting the rules with financial fair play. Premier League come out and say 115 reasons why we should be charging Manchester City. When did they do it? The week before they fucking play Aston Villa and put fire in their bellies and they go out and spank us. It just begs belief what these guys are doing. I do not trust the people who are running our game. And as a result, I find it really, really hard to get excited about Premier League football. I'm hoping we can get into Europe because we might have some semblance of fair play in Europe. I'm not overly confident in that either, but we'll see. But look, they're just awful. They're goddamn awful. The TV companies are not helping, showing enough replays. And do you know what else I hate? Why did the TV companies know before the ref? Why do they know before the referees tell the players what the result is from VAR? It's quite obvious they're saying decision made. They tell us VAR complete and the referee is still there holding his hand to his ear. Like, what's that about? How do they know? Are they deciding what it is? It just boggles my brain. It really does. Anyway, back to more
Mic
pressing
up.
matter.
We've said it a million and one times. Until it's mic'd up, there will always be.
There will never be any trust in them until they're mic'd up.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not even looking for mic'd up live. If they can show us 48 hours after the game what happened when we've all calmed down and let us observe exactly what they're doing, because they are paid handsomely for what they do. So they deserve to be in the shop window. They deserve to be put up there and be accountable for their actions. Standing a fella down for a week because he blatantly can't do his job is not good enough. If I blatantly can't do my job, my boss points at the door in a P45. It's as simple as that. If they can't do their job, it's time to wrap it up and ship them out and get the next man in. That's the way it works in every other job in the world. So if a footballer's not doing his job, he sits on the sideline or he plays with the under-23s. Simple as that. Referees accountable for nothing. Or we'll stand them up for a week and everyone stand them down for a week and everybody be happy with that. No, doesn't work that way. Enough is enough. 1 week into the season, we're at this already. And the irony of this is, it's not even about our club, this rant.
Yeah.
The worst thing that happened this week is not about our club.
I might clip this one out and put it into a standalone podcast on its own, to be honest with you. But does anyone want a funny one? Oh my god, it's after completely slipping my mind now. I sent it on to you, Paddy. There's an Arsenal podcast that I'm good friends with, and they only realized on Tuesday that they've been tweeting somebody at PGMOL. This Twitter. Yeah. They've been tweeting them for the last 3 years and not getting a reply, and they thought it was the PGMOL that everybody associates, but it's just some guy with like 300 followers. And then I said to that to Paddy, I goes, well, at least this isn't you. And he goes, I've tweeted him before, giving out to him as well. So this guy must be getting absolute pelters from everyone. Wondering what the situation is, but it hasn't upped his follower count anyway. But it is it was a funny one when I sent it on to Paddy. Paddy sent me back a little laughing face. God, I realized about 8 months ago that I was tweeting him the whole time too. So it is a funny one. But yeah, look, we're 10 minutes.
I had to delete the tweet that I sent to the poor man 8 months ago, whatever it was, when I discovered PGMOL had an account.
Yeah, and message him and just say, listen, I'm so sorry about that. I don't even know you. But No, we're nearly 10 minutes in. And look, it's good. Look, Paddy, you know, what would it be? It wouldn't be a podcast if we didn't have one of those, Paddy. And I let you get it off your chest because, as I say, I don't think it's going to be the last time that we. And as you say, it isn't even about our club. That one wasn't even about our club. What got me with that one is Eric Ten Hag said, well, they must have gotten it right if they looked at it. And that the two players bumped into each other. And I just went, that's ridiculous, Eric.
Because it's Manchester
Can't.
United,
No,
they must
not
have got it
having
right.
that. Not having that.
Yeah.
Hibs are
So
through to the
he-
next
he-
round, Paddy. Hibs
They
are
are.
through,
Yeah, it was
which is
2-2
great news.
It was 2-2 last I checked before I came on here. So I see there's I knew once it went to 2-2 there was no way they were getting back into it. It was a poor enough game, two poor enough teams. I don't envisage any problems for us as long as they don't send Simon Hooper up to referee the match. I think we'll be okay.
Anyway, on to Aston Villa versus Everton this weekend at Villa Park. I know a lot of you guys watching this and listening to this are going to be really buoyed to get back into Villa Park again and see what and see the players back up close once more. Looks like we're going to have a couple of signings. I don't think they're going to be involved for the weekend. We might as well talk about one anyway. That looks like he's certainly in, and that is Nicolas Zaniolo. Paddy, I think I've spoken to everybody that potentially has ever spoken about Nicolas Zaniolo, except for you, which is interesting. What's the situation, or what do you make of him? You know, look, he's obviously somebody that the club. I think the club have earmarked from afar, and I don't think it's very much so this panic signing that some people are making it out to be. But what do you make of Nicolas Zaniolo, and what do you think? Do you think that would be the finish to our attacking signings in this transfer window?
And your last question first. I don't believe it's the finish to our signings.
Attacking signings, they said.
I don't believe the finish to our attacking signings either. No, but I do believe it has the potential to be a really, really good signing. But it comes with a health warning, obviously, because he has had issues in the past on and off the pitch with injuries, with personal life. Obviously, a really big character and a really, really good player in the fullness of his health. So that's the big question now. Have we got him in the fullness of his health? So we'll know that once we get confirmation that he signed, because he would have went through a rigorous medical over the last couple of days. So he's still there, which is a good sign. He was in the Belfry tonight. So that tells me that it's imminent, or they're waiting on results of some kind of scans, or they're really being as sure as they possibly can before pressing the button, or they're waiting on signing number 2 to be done tomorrow so they can announce
That's
them
my
both
view.
again.
My view is it's a old-fashioned double signing. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy is trained with Aston Villa today.
The only thing I will preface this by, if he trained with Aston Villa today, and I mean fully trained, which can be done as part of a medical as well, that does happen. I believe that Galatasaray or somebody in Turkey would have announced this already and been tried to be the first to announce this. So it probably would be announced in Turkey at this stage.
The sporting director of let me see if I can find the tweet. The sporting director of the Galatasaray, the Turkish team, I was going to call them there. He basically came out and said, yeah, he sold, and he named 35. Said potentially it's going to be 35 million euros. I'm trying to see if I can find the tweet here. He said, yeah, we've made a ton of money on this player, and he said they did the same on Tete as well. But I can't find it. So he's more or less said he's gone. Yeah, that it's here it is. Here is the tweet. Let me just try and translate the post here. It said, Erden Timur talked about the latest situation of Italian star Zaniolo, who's about to leave the team, noting that Timur noted that Zaniolo's transfer to Aston Villa has reached a final point. He said that commercial consideration should be given to buying and selling players. A point has been reached with Zaniolo at Aston Villa. I can say that it's the final stage. Zaniolo has a 35 million euro exit clause. We're thinking about how we can bring in more. We need to be realistic. Our aim at Zaniolo is to bring returns, do the same for Tete, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, all this kind of stuff. he goes on then to talk a small bit more. So he's more or less confirmed that it's done already.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he was training with Aston Villa today and they're just waiting to announce it tomorrow, maybe when they have more news. Like, there's nothing to be gained by announcing one today and announcing one tomorrow. They might as well just do a double announcement tomorrow if they are going to, if they are as far down the line with Marcus Cunha as we think that they are. So that's my view. That's what I think it is. I think that's the reason why. I wouldn't be surprised, as I say, if he did train today.
Just to clarify, because two people have messaged me on WhatsApp since I've made the statement, but I'm absolutely fine with this signing, and everybody deserves a second chance. Plenty of people gave me a second chance in my life. So if that's what people are worried about, or that's what people thought I was saying, that's not the case. I want a fully fit Zaniolo in our squad, and I think he has potential to light up the Premier League. A lot of people are worried about the ACL injuries. I'm not. What I'm worried about is if they've healed properly. Anybody can get an ACL injury at any given time. It doesn't weaken your ACL. When you do an ACL, it's not weak. It's all about how you recover from it, how you trust that ligament is working in the fullness of its health, because people develop running issues and they run awkwardly and they plant their foot differently and they do loads of other different things. So that's what I want to know. I want to know, is he doing all these things? And the signs are, from how he played for Galatasaray, is he's fine, absolutely fine. So I'm good with that. So I'm absolutely not saying we shouldn't sign this guy. I 100% really want him there, and I want him in the fullness of his health.
With ACL, like reconstructions and stuff like that, I've said this before. They pull apart for your hamstring through your knee and replace it that way and just bolt it down onto your. It's very agricultural the way they do it. So it doesn't weaken it. If anything, a reconstructed ACL can even be stronger. It's just people are unlucky to do it twice.
It's not like it used to be. It's not like Alan Shearer lying in a bed in Los Angeles with Richard Steadman for 6 months. Those days are all gone. Like my nephew recently did his, and within an hour of it, he was up walking. That's what they encourage you to do, to stretch it out again. So it's all about rehab once it happens now, and medicine has come on so much, and surgeries come on so much in that time. So I'm absolutely not worried about injury history, because anybody can get injury. If somebody constantly has hamstring injuries, that's the only injury that I worry about, because they're reoccurrers. The likes of Michael Owen, those type of injuries, that really worries me. But
because they have scar tissue. Scar tissue in the hamstring.
So they're always likely to pop again. But with an ACL, once it's operated properly, once the recovery is good, I think we're okay.
Do you think what's his chances of making the bench for the weekend? I presume we're not talking about starting at the weekend, considering we're Thursday.
I'll put it to you this way. I do believe if we sign him, he goes on the bench at the expense of one of the younger kids, the likes of Omari Kellerman or someone like that. And that's fine. We're not spending this money and these wages on a player to sit in the bench. If he's fit enough and up to the game, he should be on the bench. My only problem is he probably wouldn't be au fait with the way we're playing. So there might need to be a little bit of betting in. There might need to be cases where, if we're ahead at the weekend, put him in there. Let him see what the players around him are like in the full heat of battle. But I think he's one for a few weeks' time, as opposed to being there at the weekend. But I've no doubt that if he's fit enough, he'll be in the squad.
We've got a guest on the podcast. Oh no, we don't anymore. I was going to show everybody my dog, who just decided to come in the door here. My dog is also called Paddy.
His name.
My dog was called Paddy before I knew Paddy in the podcast as well, so that would have been an interesting one. But he's an absolutely beautiful dog. But he decided he was going to scarper out chasing a fly again, so I'll leave him to his own devices. Paddy, what way do you think the team is going to line up at the weekend? Obviously, there's going to be enforced changes, but do you think that there's going to be massive changes other than Pau Torres coming in, or do you think Diego Carlos comes in? What way would you set up if Paddy had to break out the tactics board on Sunday?
I wouldn't change too much, and I wouldn't read too much into what happened at the weekend. As I said about that, the Mings injury, the nature of the opposition, the is completely disjointed when something like that happens to you, and taking a centre half that early in the game and bringing in, I'm not calling him a rookie centre half, but in Premier League terms, he's a rookie centre half. But absolutely fine with the way he plays the ball. He's probably not that imposing unit that we have in Tyrone Mings, and that's what we will be missing. I think it's up to him to decide now whether he goes with Carlos in that position. I don't think Ezri Konsa will be shipped out for anybody. I think Konsa starts. I think Luca Dean will probably start. But I think the question mark is, does he play Carlos at that left-sided centre half, or does he play Pau Torres? So the rest of the team, I think it's only Bailey we're looking at shipping out from what started. I think everybody else would be given a second chance. There's a lot of players there look like they were playing with lead in their boots, but you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You don't know, are people completely up to speed yet? They should be. There was a lot of leggy. Like I put a tweet on Twitter that after 75 minutes or so, it looked like we've nothing left in the tank. Absolutely nothing. Some silly decisions being made. I felt on field decisions being made that probably we'll never see again. I doubt Unai Emery had anything positive to say this week other than great goal by Diaby. And look, the fact that we lost 5-1, if you like, I went through the trouble of watching the match back because it was hurting me a lot. So I wanted to watch a match. I want the match in full. And if you go back to even when Mings goes down injured, we should have actually scored from it. He plays on. Referee plays on. Watkins gets into a great position and drags a shot wide. We should have done better from that one, and that would have made all the difference. If we'd have got back to 2-2, our backs were up, albeit that Mings went down injured. We just looked like we couldn't get back into it then after that. That's just my uneducated opinion of what happened. The players looked like they were like, I couldn't get over Boubacar Kamara. I just couldn't. He just looked like a different player. Do you know what it reminded me of? Do you know when a fella arrives on a Sunday morning with either a hangover or a vomiting bug, but insists on playing and just lethargically gets around the pitch? That's the way it looked. Pardon?
Me? You mean?
Me or you, whatever, yeah. But that's just the way it looked. Now, I don't know whether that was overtraining. I don't know whether he had a bug. I don't know whether he just was caught in the headlights of the pace of the game, which is very possible in a new setup in that midfield for Newcastle as well. But I wouldn't read too much into the weekend. As I said, that injury can't be understated, the effect it will have on people. A man who's an absolute leader in the dressing room, a man who has been there since we were in the Championship and has so much respect on and off the pitch in our club. He will go down as a legend no matter what he does from here on in. He's been absolutely immense for our club. Yes, he used to make mistakes, but he's been absolutely excellent under Unai Emery. There's been utmost faith in him shown by Unai Emery. Even though he has brought in players, some people say they're better players. We'll find that out now because they have to step up. I bet Pau Torres didn't think when he was starting behind Mings at the weekend that he was actually even going to get on, because you don't normally change your centre halves in game just for tactical reasons. He might have got on to see the game out at putting on a fifth defender. That must
Adam Chambers,
yeah, that must have been the only thing in his head that he saw. Yeah, I'll get on at the end of this game and I'll play 15 minutes to see out the game when we're 3-2 up or 2-1 up or something like that. But to go on cold in the manner he did, and let's face it, he wasn't the worst of the players out there, But there's a lot of questions around Bailey. I'd like to know why Bailey was in Mallorca this week. I really would like to know. I thought that was the strangest thing I've ever seen. 1 week into the season. Now we have the presser tomorrow. If any of the journos that are in the presser tomorrow are watching this, please ask why Bailey was in Mallorca during the week. I really can't get my head around that at all. I was hoping it was to sign for Mallorca, but that obviously wasn't the case because he got on the flight back home.
Yes, look, it's that's a wild story. If that story,
I'm joking, Neil. I'm joking.
What? But to sign from Mallorca, we had this discussion already, Paddy. It's okay if he signs for him when we get something like Vedat Muriqi and what was the other guy who said one corrected back, that centre half, the young 23-year-old centre half today. I've completely butchered his name. It's Jose Corretti, I think his name is. If we get those two guys back, that's fine. Yeah, I'm okay for him to sign, but you know what I mean. Obviously all that's in jest, but I just like to know why he's over there. Yeah, it was a really strange one. Really strange one. I wonder, was it? But dude, I wonder, like, hey, Paddy, imagine the team sheet tantrum on Sunday, and if we see no Bailey on the bench, no Bailey in the starting lineup, there's going to be your that to me would say he wasn't supposed to go there, and he went anyway.
He wasn't supposed to go there, or he went there for some injury treatment, which is another possibility as well. I'd just like some clarification. I'd like some clarification on it.
On who scored, it says that he's an injured out for the weekend. So potentially that was it. Potentially that was it too. Did you see Everton at the weekend, Paddy? Did you see their game against Fulham?
I only saw them on Match of the Day. I didn't see too much football at the weekend, unfortunately, because I've been busy. But I watched the extended highlights. I watched Match of the Day. I watched the extended highlights today on whatever Premier League platform there was. They took a lot of shots.
They did.
A lot of toothless shots. I think they doubled the amount of shots that Fulham had.
Yeah, 19-9.
Yeah, but they hadn't. They never looked like they were going to cause any damage. It's a strange one. I honestly don't know how they're going to do this year. They could potentially be the one that grind out 1-0 and 0 all year round, or they could get spanked every week. That you just don't know what you're going to get with Everton, I think. And until they sign a striker, I think they're at nothing.
Well, I think that the reason I asked you that is that Danjuma came on from Ope last weekend, and I think that we see Danjuma start in this game instead of Ope. I think they'll probably go with the same back four. We're going to be reacquainted with Ashley Young at left back. They're going to have the young guy Nathan Patterson as at right back, Tarkovsky and Keane in the middle. I'd say that they will go with that kind of that box midfield like we do. Iwobi, Onana, Gray, and Joe Garner in there. I would imagine that's the way that they would go, with Doucouré playing behind Danjuma. So not too dissimilar to the setup that we will have. Not too dissimilar to the setup that we will have as well. I think we're in a better position still, even though we've lost 5-1. I think we're in a better position. I think our team playing at home, I think that we're going to see a I don't want to call it a backlash, but you know what I mean. I think we're going to see the team come out and be in a different mindset, I think, for this game for sure. And I'm actually really excited for it. I'm always excited. I've said every time we've done a podcast, Paddy, I've always mentioned that Aston Villa and Everton feels like a proper Premier League fixture. I like their I've got a soft spot for them as a club. It's the football ground I've been to most other than Villa Park in the Premier League. But I want to beat them every time that we play them. You know, so it's a nice fixture, and I hope everybody gets to enjoy it at 2:00 on Sunday.
Yeah, Neil. This season, I'm going to ask you the same question every week that we do a preview, and see if you can answer this one. Every week, I'm going to ask you this.
Okay.
Who out of the starting 11 for Everton last week gets into our starting 11?
Great question. I think I take.
Sorry for putting you on the spot. I should have told you this in advance, but anyway, I'm going to do this every week now.
I think I'd take James Tarkovsky to be, maybe not into our starting 11, but I think I'd take him in our team now to be that guy who gets up and heads everything away like Tyrone Mings was. I like Onana in the middle of midfield. Onana is a really good player.
Not the question I asked you, though. I like them too, but would they get into our starting team?
I think Onana will get into our starting 11.
Okay.
And after that, I don't see other people in the team.
I'm going to give you another one. Based on that, Ashley Young. Yeah.
You're going to say Ashley Young. Yeah, it crossed my mind to say Ashley Young. Believe me, it crossed my mind to say Ashley Young. into our starting 11. I suppose you probably would say he would start at left back or right back, whichever one, based on last week's performance.
Yeah, that's my only one I would pick based on what I saw of them last week and us. Yeah, it's not going to be easy. I think it's going to be a very nervy performance. I think the players will be under a slight bit of pressure after last week. I do believe we'll go all guns blazing from the start. I think it's important. I think we lay down a marker early on and really give them a rattle.
I think so too. I think we lay down our mark early on. I hope we do. I hope we start to play through the middle. I hope we push Doucouré back on his toes from the point of view of I hope we push him back into midfield. I hope if I see what I saw the last day where our midfielders standing on our two centre halves toes again, I might scream. You might be able to hear me no matter where you are in the world screaming, because to me that is in like as an amateur footballer you don't do it. As a professional footballer, you really shouldn't do it unless you're going to form a back six like Unai has before. But we didn't need, like, we were chasing the game at that stage. We were 2-1 down, and then the second half, we just retreated back on our centre halves too much. I've said that before in the post match podcast, but I really don't want to see that. I really don't want to see that. I want to see a small bit more expansion. I want to see us go. I said there, I hope we play through the middle, and I think we can play through the middle against this midfield. But also, I hope that we can see Ollie Watkins pull out to that left-hand side a small bit more. He didn't get a chance to do it at all against Newcastle. We looked like we were like, and because of that, John McGinn was relatively anonymous for the game, being out on that left-hand side. I think maybe there's a rethink there to see how do we get him more involved. Maybe he goes into the centre. Maybe we push Diaby out onto the left-hand side. Maybe we bring, or maybe we push him, put McGinn onto the right. We put Diaby onto the left. Maybe we bring Tielemans in and play more of a flatter midfield. I don't know, but John McGinn could be is a big key, to this team, and I just like to see him getting the ball more than he did against Newcastle, because he didn't really, and maybe it was playing on the left hand side as opposed to playing on the right. I don't know, but let's get back, let's get some sort of flow back into this team, and I think we will. As I say, I'm confident enough. I'm going to call it now. I think Aston Villa win 2-0.
I'll call it on Sunday.
Yeah, you always do. You keep yours for the team sheet tantrum, but I think Villa can go out here and get a result for sure. And think of it this way, guys: we've lost 3 games out of the last. I think it's 3 games in the last 20 we've played. It's not crisis time. It's certainly not crisis time.
There's no crisis. It's worry
time either.
No, it's a worry because we have to react now to that performance. We've got to react to the Tyrone Mings injury. We've got to react to the Emi Buendia injury, and it's taken a little bit of time. Getting players over the line is tough going in this day and age. It's not a case of we're in the position Chelsea are that they can just bloody throw money at everything and it sticks. We need to negotiate. We need to get the best deal possible to stay within financial fair play. So these things are going to take time, but we've got 13 days, 14 days left until the transfer window ends. 15 days, I think. Actually, I think it finishes on the 4th of September. Yeah. There's a few people talking about the third kit. I predicted the third kit will be launched next week. Why do you think that will be, Neil? Because we're away to Burnley.
So we're away to Burnley, and then yes, we get to wear it.
It normally gets forced out and away to Burnley, away to West Ham or whatever. That's normally how it works.
Well, yeah, we still have to wear our away shirt yet, Paddy. Our white away shirt. So yeah. Yeah. And a couple of people talking about the home shirt being absolutely drenched. Look, I couldn't care. I genuinely couldn't care less about that. It just
I enjoyed Dan Bardell's testing of the shirt.
Bardell's testing of the shirt, yeah, and it's mad, lads, because I was texting him afterwards. He said he said that I did 30 minutes. I think he only did 4 minutes on the bike or something. He needed to stop. Look, what goes on in our text group stays in our text group. I'm just saying. But no, I'm only joking. But that was funny. I did like that. I did like that little scientific experiment he did. I wonder what it looked like with the away shirt as well. Now when the away shirt is worn, I wonder will
we
it be
did see it in
as
America. It
smooth?
was much the same.
Yeah, it was actually. You're right. Yeah, I forgot all about that. I forgot all about that. So do you know what it was 17 minutes before or 18 minutes before we actually started talking about Villa Everton. But look, that's our way. If you're only new to the podcast, this is the way things go sometimes. We get talking. Paddy gets revved up at the start of a podcast. He starts talking about refs. I get revved up. I start talking about signings that might never happen at the start of a podcast. It's the way we go. We're just two lads. If we could film this in a pub with 2 pints in our hands, that's the way we want the podcast. We wouldn't change it for anything else. And you mentioned, Paddy, about the 1st of September. And I just mentioned about pints in our hands, filming this in a pub. Our live podcast is on the 9th of September. And you were talking about, what's that? That's 15, that's 20 something days, 24 days away. Is it? No, somebody do the math. It's soon is what I'm trying to get at here. It's soon. And really, really looking forward to it again. I know a couple of you have reached out looking to see if there are any tickets available. And look, unfortunately, as it stands here at the moment, there won't be any more tickets going on sale. But if there's anybody out there who has purchased tickets that is not able to go, get in contact with us and we will put you in contact with somebody else because there's about 20 people looking for tickets. So if you are not in a position to go and
just 20.
Well, yeah, that's just the first number that came to my mind. I don't know what the last count is, but it's minimum of 20. If you are looking for, if you can't go and maybe you want somebody else to be able to go in your place, get in contact with us and we'll put you in contact with somebody. Do not buy a ticket off Facebook or anywhere like that. We are not reselling them. We need to change your name. If you buy a ticket on Facebook and we don't change the name on the door, you aren't getting in. It's as simple as that. So you have to come through us. Stops anybody getting scammed as well, because for some reason there's feckin' scammers out there for our little old podcast. So yeah, come to us first and we will put you in contact with somebody that is looking to purchase a ticket. Okay, I just wanted to say that because we're all a little community here, and I'd hate for somebody to get onto us and say, "Yeah, I've traveled over from Birmingham, and somebody, Sarah something or whatever, I don't know, said on Facebook she was going to meet me at the venue with 4 tickets, and now I can't get in, and you have to spend 400 quid to get to Ireland. That would break my heart. It really would. And we may not be we wouldn't be able to get people in for that point of view. So I just said I'd throw that one out there.
And
a couple of people asking, is the podcast going to be streamed? It won't be streamed live. We will. We do have a videographer for the night, so we will be putting it on YouTube after the event, but it won't be streamed live. Yeah, when it's clipped up, when they take out all the when our lawyers get to have a look at it and take out anything that could be incendiary, that could be slander, that could be libel, whatever. We need to get all.
Neil, I'll be on my best behavior.
Yeah,
with my family there. I don't think my father will be able for one of my rants. I'm only joking. I just want to say there's a lot of love in the comments for my rants. I want to tell people, because I get a lot of grief in DMs over things I say about referees for some reason. So thank you for all the love in the comments. I assure you that I'm not putting this on. Neil will tell you I'm not putting this on. I absolutely despise them. That is unfortunate. I know there's many of us like it are like that. Maybe I'll tell the story of why I hate referees so much when we do the live podcast, but we'll have to be in good form for that.
I've got an idea. I've got an idea for the night, Paddy. I've got an idea. All right, I'm not even going to tell you about it. Anyway, yeah. So look. So Everton versus Aston Villa coming up this weekend, 2 p.m. on Sunday. On Sunday, I had to check myself there. Aston Villa get back on the road to winning the league, and they're going to start against Everton at the weekend. Hope you all enjoy. We will probably be back between now and then. If there's any signings between now and then, I will jump on and chat about them. And obviously, Team Sheet Tantrum, we will have it on Sunday at 10 minutes to 1 o'clock. And we will talk everything about the Team Sheet Tantrum, and we will also come to you with a post-match podcast at 5 minutes to 4 directly at the final whistle. So I hope you join us all for that, and I hope you all hope we're singing for the right result in that post-match podcast. But as I always say to you guys, or as I've started to say to you recently, thank you so much for your time. I hope you feel that the time has been well spent here, because we can never give you this time back. So I hope we've given you some sort of enjoyment, and thank you for spending the last 40 minutes with us. Until the next time we see you, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.